Okay, for this homework, you only have to write down what is in pink. Okay, only what is in pink. But I want you to listen to all of it. So this is all about maps. So label your notes maps. Even though we've already done activity in class, I would still like you to write down latitude is the distance north or south of the equator. So you can hear the map, you can see that the equator, latitude is that distance north or south. And longitude is the distance east or west of the prime meridian. Prime meridian goes through Europe, starts from the 90 degrees right at the North Pole, goes all the way to the south, and those lines all run north to south. Those longitudinal lines are what separates and makes the time zones. There are 24 divisions, just like there are 24 hours in a day, or 24 divisions. Most countries, except really large countries, decide and pick on one time zone. So everyone in this, all the same country, is all in the same time. Otherwise, it would be really confusing. So here's a picture of time zones. Here we are, the eastern part of the United States. We are in the eastern time zone. The continental U.S. is broken into 4 time zones, and then Alaska and Hawaii are also in separate time zones. You can see that some of these countries, even though they don't exactly belong in that time zone, that they'll, because it's one country, they'll stay within all that one time zone. Makes it a lot more convenient. So a little bit about maps and some history of maps. So maps is for many different reasons, which you can kind of understand by the title. Road map, obviously, it's made for roads. For example, this is a map, but it doesn't necessarily show roads. This actually shows the densities in wooded areas of Wisconsin. This is Wisconsin, and we have the most dense wooded areas. All maps, they have a scale, which shows you or represents a distance. They all have a key, which tells you what those images and what those things mean on the map. And I'll have the compass rose that tells you distances north and south. A little history. First maps were found about 900 BC. So this is a map of the region. Obviously, it's nothing like the maps that we have today. The earliest road maps are circa 335, 336 AD. That's the first road map. And it was a long time before maps had really changed. Each region had their own maps and roads, and most of them were, close to the orientation of what was really in the area, but nothing like today. The first world map, here, there's a picture of the first world map, 1154. Ptolemy, he was the first to show the new frontiers and things that were discovered. Continue to add. This was 200 years later, 1482. Important to this region, and mainly to Virginia, is the Lewis and Clark expeditions. They created new maps of areas, obviously by traveling down streams and charting new areas. The next significant type of map was a map created by photographs, where a plane would fly over and take pictures and pictures and pictures, and then they were reassembled to get more of a three-dimensional image of what's going on in the area. And what we use today is satellites, land satellites. So satellites that point down and actually take detailed images of regions. Google Maps, this is one way that Google Maps is created, by using land satellites. So that's just a little bit of the history of maps. But what we want to write down, here's your pink, is topographic maps. We're going to spend a few days on topographic maps. They show elevation. So you can see here in this picture that this is a topographic map. And here is kind of an image of what it would look like. Often these types of maps are found in parks and areas where people do a lot of hiking. Contour lines, here is a contour line. This contour line represents a single and specific elevation. That would be the line that I just drew, 0. 0 feet or 0 meters above sea level. So right there, that would be the ocean. They can never cross. Lines don't cross. So here, another contour line. We have all these in between. Those are all contour lines. A contour interval is the distance between, the difference between the two contour lines. So this is 100, this is 200. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lines. So if this is 100 feet difference or 100 meters difference, you divide those by 10, so that gives you 10 per line. So this is 100, this is 110, 120, 130, 140, and this would be 150. It's not written there, but you can figure that out based on the contour interval. The spacing of contour lines tells you what's going on in the land. So if they are closely spaced, that means that there's a very quick change in elevation. If we were to try to hike up this side of a hill, it would be much steeper than hiking this way. Here the lines are very close together, and that indicates that it would be a very steep climb, or that the elevation changes very quickly. And here we have 3 more definitions. With V-shaped contours. This is the V-shape. Here you can see by this giant green arrow that this is the V. These are contour lines that form a V. And I can follow several, and you can see that it's a V. The V points upstream. So this is a river, and the V points upstream, which sometimes is confusing, but if the V points upstream, that means the river is flowing downhill, and this is upstream, so this is a higher elevation. You can see that this is 1900, and it flows down. You can see this one is 1,300. So there's our river flowing downstream. Another feature you can find on a topographic map is a U-shape contour. U-shapes generally also have a river flowing as well. You can see the river here, but they're made much differently. The V-shaped contours, those are formed by rivers and erosion of rivers, where the U-shaped, here you can see the U, those are formed from glaciers. Glaciers have made those. The last one is a depression. As a contour lines circle, they can either be showing that there's a large hill or a mountain and something going upstream, but if they have little hashes, for example right here, if they have little hashes on the inside, that indicates that it is going down, the elevation is going down. All right, that's it for contour notes, and we'll see you in class.